Hi, everybody. Hey, it's Christina Taylor here. I just thought I'd start with a little peek at the cards and we will get started here. Thanks for joining me today. Again, it's Christina Taylor. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from North Canton, Ohio. And today I'm going to share with you some cards that, well, let me grab them again, that just have they're all have like caring, loving notes, whether they're hope and encouragement, thinking of you, sympathy, those cards that we often need and we don't have on hand right away. So, and I am not on video because I was working out in the yard, and at this point, my hair is up in a messy bun, and I'm just like, um, it's best that I'm not on camera, I guess is what I'm saying. So you're just going to get to look at my hands. And today I also have, if you look at my hands, can you see that yellow on there? There's there's yellow in different spots. My husband's like, "It looks like you markered yourself, like just colored outside the lines and just colored your hands." Um, I was cutting back some flowers that Roger had gotten me some stargazer-like lilies, and they're beautiful, just beautiful, super fragrant. Anyway, some of the petals were starting to come off, and the pollen on them, like, it stained my hands. Like, I've washed my hands literally, I don't know, half a dozen times, and I can't get that off. It really does look like I'm markered all over my fingers. So anyway, I digress. So it's just disregard the yellow spots on my hands, and we'll go ahead and get started stamping. So thanks for joining me today for this class. And if you any of the products that you see today that I'm using in the video, if something's retired, I'll let you know. We can always have a happy substitution for sure. But my online store is Stamping You Crazy, stampinup.net. And my current hostess code is 6FXK3WH7. And when you use that code when you're ordering online, that lets me know that you would like the free card kits that I give away each month. And if your order is over $150, don't use that hostess kit or that hostess code. Stampin' Up! Will give you hostess rewards, and I definitely want you to have them. And I will still send you the card kits, so as an extra thank you. And I don't know if any of you took advantage of the free shipping sale that we just had on Wednesday. So that was a fun little promotion that just kind of came out of the blue. I get all my supplies here so we can start stamping. So a couple things coming up in July. I don't have a new flyer because I typically do my classes, at the North Canton Y. And I don't have that because I'm not going to do a class there in July. Many of you know that they're having elevator issues, and that has just caused a lot of problems with people being able to get up to the class. Not a problem for me, just a problem for the Y. And so it's just I'm going to do a fun class here at my home for July instead of at the Y. So it's going to be Chicks and Chocolate. And that is going to be on July 19th. I'm going to have an afternoon session and a morning session, or no, an afternoon session and an evening session. And how that class works is we do very girly cards, just feminine kind of cards, because hence the name Chicks and Chocolate. And then chocolate. So what I have is everybody brings their favorite chocolate treat. And you bring that to share. So you can package them individually. You can bring them in a container and serve them that way, however the case may be. But you bring a treat to share with the other ladies. And then during the class, you can stop, take a break, and have some treats. And I just think that'll be a fun social class to have here at my home. There is space will be limited on that. So watch my email for details on registration opening up for that. And if you're not on my email list, you can email me at stampmecrazy@sbcglobal.net to be able to get on that email list and get those details about the Chicks and Chocolate class. And then also coming up in July, I wasn't able to have it last year because we just had so much going on. My retired stamp sale. I'm looking at my calendar here so I can double check the dates. My retired stamp sale is going to be July 14th and 15th. On Friday, I haven't quite set the hours yet, but Friday I'll probably be open in the morning from like maybe like 9 to 1, and then I'll shut things down for the afternoon and open back again like 4 to 6 or 4 to 7 kind of thing, to offer just a different couple time frame options. And then I will be open on Saturday morning from probably noon to, or 9 to noon is what I'm thinking. So just watch for the details on that as well. There will be tons of items at deep discounts. I usually price things anywhere from 50 to 75% off the original retail. Actually, some are even priced more, like 90% off. It's just, I want to pass on that savings to you. And if you see something that sparks your creativity, I want you to be able to enjoy that. So watch the email for details on that. And lastly, let's see, our as far as promotions, the designer series paper is on sale through the end of this month, so June 30th. And it is 15% off of all the packets. Our basic line of specialty paper. There's just some beautiful, beautiful papers, and it only ends up being like just a little over $10 a pack. So that is a fantastic savings, and I encourage you to check those out. Let me grab a catalog because I can tell you what page they are on in the catalog. So you're going to find the papers that are on sale starting on page 128 and going to page 133. These specialty papers are not part of the promotion, so it's all of our basic line papers, which just are stunning. Some of my favorites are like, let's see, I love this one, this one, the Earth and Elegance, the Fresh as a Daisy. Let's Go Fishing is a great masculine paper. The Inked Botanicals, very nice as well. And this Masterfully Made is stunning, along with the stamp set. Highly, highly recommend that one too. Trying to think, most of these have a stamp set that goes with them. This one does. It's a great stamp set. We're actually using it today and using the dies on this project here. The Bright and Beautiful has a stamp set to go with it, along with a card pack and Memories and More cards, which I actually have here. I just happen to have those handy. Let's see, because I was just looking at those to possibly do a class with. So I'll just fan these out really quick. So this is the Memories and More card pack. You get all these fun cards. They're double-sided, great to use as card layers. And then, of course, the designer series paper. I'm not going to be able to fan all this out just quite and do it justice, but super pretty. Really pretty, can be used masculine or feminine cards. And then these beautiful envelopes with card bases. So blue and the pink. Well, the blue has a little bit of green on it. And then these beautiful envelopes too. So I think this entire suite of products is really fun to work with. And I'm excited to create with these things once I get a little time to do that. We've been quite busy outside working with getting our landscaping done around the driveway and the building stuff and all the things. So that's taken up a lot of time. The Earth and Elegance has a bundle of products that goes with it. Super, super cute, pretty. You can do masculine, feminine cards with that. Fresh as a Daisy, just the same as well. These two both have bundles to go along with them. So anyway, yeah, I encourage you to check them out. Great, beautiful paper that you can just easily put on a card front, make a quick card, put a greeting on it, you're good to go. Okay, so this first card that we're going to make is this one here. A little closer there. So you can see the texture and all the good things. And I'm going to go over the supplies that we have here. So I'm using Petal Pink ink from Cake Ink. Copper Clay, which is one of our new colors, and Lemon Lime Twist, which is a returning color, but now in our regular color groupings, color families. We're using the Countryside Blossoms Embossing Folder. We are using the Countryside Corners dies here, these are a great set of dies. We are using the Countryside Corners stamp set and the Lasting Joy stamp set. This stamp set is on the flip page of in the catalog where you see the suite of products for the Countryside Corners. This stamp set is on the flip page of that, and it complements the suite of products really well. And also, if you're a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, the new Welcome In kit from this month really complements the suite of products as well. And I think I've got that handy. It came, if I grab that during the video, I'll give you a peek of that too. And then I'm using my Stamparatus. It's a retired product. We'll not get into that as to why it retired and all that kind of good stuff, but I do have one left from the stock that I had. So if anyone's interested in it, please message me, and that is available to you. Okay. So our products, oh my goodness. Gotta get a little settled around here. Okay. We've got our envelope, a very vanilla envelope, and then we've got a piece of crumb cake that is 5.5 by 8.5. A piece of another piece of crumb cake that is 4.25 by 5.25. A piece of very vanilla that is 4 by 5.25. Did I say this was? These are both 4 by 5.25. I might have set the wrong measurement for that one. And then you would need a piece of very vanilla and Pool Party to die cut the layers from the Countryside Corners dies. I've gone ahead and done that and cut out the 2 layers that I wanted. Now with the dies, let me see if I've got these handy. Yeah, I do. Okay, so when I was running the dies through, I'm going to show you what to do. So 2 things. You all know that I love to save paper. I love to use it in other ways. So, but with also with postage, this helps a little bit of the weight on the card too. So you don't have to put that like extra ounce stamp on there. So what I did was I took this die, laid it on my piece of cardstock, and then I took, no, that one, that was what I used for the vanilla. And then I took this die, laid it on my cardstock, and ran that through the cut and emboss machine. So because I'm going to layer over top of this, I wasn't using it anyway. So when you do that, and then like I said, this one was the one I used for the very vanilla oak shape. So when you do that and run it through like that, it gives you these 2 pieces. Well, you'll see in a bit how we're going to stamp this and just use it as a border piece. So I've got these die cut that I can use on another project for a greeting or something to do. Create a layer with, and they're already die cut for me. So why not? I'm making one swipe through the machine, and it's easy peasy. Okay, then I've got a piece of ribbon, and this is what did I do with that? My goodness, it's going to be one of those mornings, afternoons. See, I'm thinking it's still morning. This was part of a ribbon bundle in the catalog. This ribbon is retired, but there are plenty of other options out there. So I'm happy to help you find one. So I know there's a happy substitution. And then I've gone ahead and die cut the little banner, which was also in this set of dies. I've die cut that in the Pool Party. And I've got some little flowers already done here. I just grabbed a little flower punch if I can get one up. There we go. Got that little guy too. So we've got all of our pieces there. So I think we are ready to start stamping. Okay. So the first thing I did was I took this piece of crumb cake and ran that through the cut and emboss machine. And so that is giving me this beautifully embossed piece. So I've gotten that done. So we'll go ahead and start by folding our cardstock in half for our base. Okay. And wipe that off. There seems to be some copper clay ink on there on the end of it. You can see it on there. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we folded that. And this is our inside piece. We're going to stamp on this. This is our embossed piece. I'll set that aside. We're going to do some stamping on this. So I'm going to set these things aside because they are all pieces that we are putting together. And we're going to go ahead and stamp with our Stamparatus first. So do that and get that out of the way. So when I'm creating a bunch of cards, and I set it up this way for the ladies at the class, so that all they had to do was put their die cut piece, that back in the corner there, put their die cut piece in the space that I've created here. And the stamp is lined up. Hopefully nobody moved it. It should be lined up. We're going to find out. The stamp is lined up so that they could just go ahead and stamp it down and stamp without having to worry about positioning and lining up and then die cutting it. I had already die cut these out for them. So I'm just going to ink this up with my crumb cake ink. And it's okay if it stamps around or stamps in the center because no big deal. We're going to I have to get my little handle here. We're going to just get a pattern on that die cut piece. We can clean off the other. So yeah, good. It was still lined up, so that's good. So there we go. So I've gone ahead and stamped it. It's already stamped right where I need it to be. It's die cut. Well, we're good to go. Easy peasy. That's why I say the Stamparatus is a great tool to have. Great tool. Okay, we'll set that aside. Then I'll come in with my foam mat here. We're going to do a little stamping on this. So I'm going to go ahead and ink or open up all my ink pads. Okay. And I've already got all my stamps on blocks here. So I am just going to set them where I am going to want them as far as colors. I'm going to try these little guys. Yeah. And need the thinking of you. Somebody had made this one a birthday card, and that stamp was on here last. So I'm going to take that off. This is a great set. It's got greetings of gratitude, birthday wishes, thinking of you, just hope and encouragement, that kind of thing, which I think are always wonderful cards to send. So nice set. And let me get that on my block. Okay. So I want to start by when I'm stamping on this, and it's a little hard to see because it's white underneath. So while I'm stamping on this, might be a little hard on the camera. I want to put my greeting on there first. So I'm going to do thinking of you because I feel like a thinking of you card can go for many things. It can be like thinking of you, like if you're not, somebody's not feeling well, they've just had a difficult time at something, or they've had somebody pass away. Just anything like that. You can, thinking of you, and then you can write your sympathy greeting inside, or whatever the note is that you want to do for some hope and encouragement. Okay, then I'm going to stamp my images on my inside layer and this banner. Now the copper clay is a little darker than what I wanted for this card. So what I did was just stamp off once before I went to my card. And I'm starting with the copper clay because this flower is the largest image. And I want to make sure to get that on there and create the space in the room that I want. Whoops, see, I almost did that. maybe I'll go ahead and do one on the envelope here. But I got this ink on my fingers. I'm gonna have the pollen ink and or the pollen color, the copper clay ink. It's like all the things. Okay, I'm gonna have to put something there. So on this one, I'm gonna put another stamp because my finger got in it. My grandma would say, she'd be like, oh my gosh. I mean, rest her soul, she's passed on, but she would do, she'd be like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and do the envelope like this because I put my fingerprint marks all over it. See, just an opportunity to be creative in a different way. All right, so then we're gonna come in with this little leaf image, and I'm gonna take that and bring it off of my flowers here. Okay, right. I'd like to bring another one just up into here, even though I don't have a flower there, just for continuity. There. And then we'll go ahead, I think on this one, on the envelope, I'm just going to stamp these randomly. I'm not going to try to line it up. Here we go. That'll be fun. That'll be good. All right. Then I'm going to come in with the little blossoms. I'll put a few right here. Set that aside. Then we're going to put some on our die cut piece. And I'm just trying to figure out some positioning on like getting the colors in there. Not really, no particular rhyme or reason the way I'm stamping them. I just want to put the color there. Now at the class and on my original one, I had used this stamp with, and I don't know if the camera can see it, but it's like little stems with leaves. And I'm going to be honest, I haven't figured out the little trick with that yet. So we're going to go with this little leaf stamp. And I'm just going to add some greenery this way. Because, sorry if my head is in the way there. Because it was frustrating some of the ladies at the class, which I totally understand because I too was like, how does this thing line up? I am sure there's a trick out there. I just haven't like searched it on YouTube or something. But there's probably some trick as to how you do that. Oh, but I really like that. Look at that. I really like those the little petals on there. That turned out really well. Let's see. Get some on that one. Yeah, I like that a lot. Actually, I'm happy with that. Okay. All right, so we got all of our stamping done. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and shut the ink pad since I've already gotten copper clay on me. I don't need to repeat there, although it's quite possible. I'll do it again. Several of the ladies were like, you know, they were like, we're going to put these colors together. But I saw this combination online. It was a color challenge with those 4 colors and then the pool party as well. And I just really liked the way it worked together. I thought it kind of gave it like a little bit of a vintage shabby chic kind of feel. It's like, that's nice. I like that. And very soft, a softness to it. Things out of the way. Okay. Oh, I forgot we were using gems on these too. I need to bring those in. We've got some champagne rhinestones there. All right, now I think we've got all of our pieces and parts, so we're ready to layer this together. go ahead and first I'm going to put my ribbon on. And when I'm doing ribbon, I prefer to just put it down with some Scotch tape. You can do whatever works best for you. I'm going to put it in the center here. Flip that around. And then bring this around. And just tape it in place. That's what works for me. You just do what works best for you. And I'm going to use some Stampin' Seal since we've got the ribbon on the back. I like Stampin' Seal. It's a nice strong adhesive. And the key to this is like running it and then kind of checking it off. So you do, and then kind of flick your wrist a bit. And then sometimes if it isn't making contact for you, you just got to turn the little adhesive wheel a bit and it's good to go. Okay. Put that layer in place. Just gonna use a little bit of Tombow there. I like both of the adhesives equally well, so like I said, you use what works best for you. As long as the adhesive holds and your card doesn't fall apart, you're good to go. You're good to go, good to go. Okay. This one I'm going to now the cool thing about the stamped image is this little dotted line on here that we stamped. So we've got two layers of dotting there. I'm just going to follow that single layer around because I know that's going to be covered with my die cut. So I'm just going to follow that to put my glue on and know that I can set this in place and I'm not going to have glue like gushing out all over the place. Okay. Now flip that over. And yeah, I'm going to use some liquid glue since we are putting on the embossing folder. It will get down in all those little nooks and crannies. Okay. All right, and then we've got our little banner piece here. Come in with that. Right under. Yeah, I'm going to do under. Those flowers. Right. And then we've got our little tiny flower. That's just in petal pink. And then I will grab a champagne rhinestone gem. Pull that off. That right in the center. So cute. All right, there's our first project. Here we go. Okay. All right, let me put these supplies away or switch out supplies and I'll be right back with the next project. Okay, we are back with the next project. So on this one, we are going to create this beautiful one right here. Just such a simplicity with that big, beautiful wave on there and putting your strength as an inspiration. So if somebody's going through a difficult time, this would be a good encouragement card to send them. And I think you could send it for guy or girl. So the project or the supplies we're using on this one, Memento Black ink, Pool Party ink. We are using the Waves dies, which they're kind of clustered in there. It is a 10-piece die set, and you get some great labels in there too. And it coordinates and goes along with the Waves of Inspiration stamp set, which has some nice verses in there. And then, of course, see like images with the pelican and the wave and the bird, all that kind of good stuff. And then I brought my Stamparatus in again to do the stamping for this, and I'll explain that a little later as we get to that point because I use that in class for the ladies to kind of make things a little easier. So now the supplies that we have, of course, we've got our envelope. We've got a piece of Pool Party that is 5.5 by 8.5. We've got 2 pieces of basic white that are 3 3/4 by 5, and you've got 2 of those. 1 piece of basic black, which is 4 by 5 1/4. And then a scrap of basic white to die cut some clouds out of. So I used on the die set, show you here. I've got these already die cut out, but I'll show you what I used. Okay, so we used this little die for the birds. Look at my yellow hands. Oh my goodness. And these two for the clouds. So I went ahead and did that, die cut those out beforehand. Let me show you that. Okay, so for my black layer, and again, you know how I am about paper conserving and all the good things, I went ahead and cut my 2 little birds out of this black layer because we're going to layer right over top of that. And then I used my little strip for die cutting the clouds. And I don't know if you can see on the clouds, you can kind of see it. There's just a little texture there. So the die gives the clouds a little texture, which is great. I wanted a little bit more texture. So I went ahead and die cut or embossed these. Let me show you. So I'll compare the two here for you. So I embossed this top one. See, it's got a little bit more depth and texture with the painted texture embossing folder. And this is the one that was in just the regular die. It just gives it a little more texture. I was just playing around with it and really liked how that looked. This does a nice job, so don't think that it doesn't. I wanted a little bit more texture. So, and we're going to use the painted texture embossing folder on the next project, so I'll give you a closer look at that. Okay, so we are ready to stamp. We've got all of our pieces die cut. We don't need that then. So I've got my pool party ink. And let me just set that right there for a minute. I've got my template already in place. And so I put this in place for the ladies at class and gave them kind of a border here for them to use as reference. And we're going to bring that up a bit. So if I put my cardstock in place right in that area, then I know that this wave is going to make contact on my cardstock just where I want it. Okay. And let me get the handle. So I can give it a press. The great thing about using the Stamparatus is that if you don't get a good image transfer, you can put it right back down and it's going to stamp. It's going to be nice for you. Now, the tip of my wave was just a little light, so I don't know if I just didn't get enough ink there. We're going to try that one again. Oh, much better. I like that. That's more pronounced. Just, it didn't have as much definition. So using the Stamparatus works perfectly for that. Easy peasy. So that is done. And then we're going to come in with a little pelican stamp. And let's see, I'm going to make the card this way. Put my pelican just like that. Okay. And I think that's with my portrait. That's all I want to do with that. Then next I want to go ahead and stamp my greeting and some little birds. So we're going to use the Memento ink for that. Oh, you know what? I do want to stamp a little guy on my envelope there. I'm going to come back with that. We're going to use the Memento black for that. And I'm going to use your strength as an inspiration. Okay, love that. Okay, and then we're going to do a couple little birds. Now this is it's a little stamp. So you just want some light pressure and then the light touch when you go to stamp it. Otherwise, you could get a wobbly line mark from above the stamp. So just gentle pressure on the ink pad, gentle pressure on your card. Let's open that pool party back up and get this little fun pelican on our. And I typically would stamp them on this side, but I'm actually going to do it on this side because he's like looking towards the address. So I'm going to do that. When you send it off in the mail, he's given like a little nod to the recipient. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and fold our card base in half. And start building some layers here. Okay. Right. Got that layer down. And just this layer. Okay. And we'll do our inside layer. This one comes together pretty quickly. Pretty quickly. Class was an adventure at the Y, as it sometimes is. Since I mentioned the elevators are broken, so I'm going to put these little pieces on here while I'm talking. And I think one of the clouds I'm going to put on with some dimensionals. Let me grab them here. Give a little lift there. So maybe I'll start with that one. Yeah, so the elevators are broken, and I showed up to teach the class and was found out that I was going to be in the teach the class in the racquetball hallway. So that was interesting. Yeah, so it was those ladies that were there in person. It was an adventure, was it not, ladies? It was an adventure. So that's part of the reason why I am going to offer a class not at the Y. Oh, I want to do the clouds first. Not at the Y this next month. Just to hopefully the elevators will get fixed. And no, it just causes an inconvenience for anyone who just needs a little extra assistance coming up the stairs. And there's quite a few programs that require that with the participants. And there's just not enough space at the Y to accommodate all the programs that are going, the programs that are going on. There's just not. So we just roll with it. I think I've pretty much taught a class everywhere in the Y, to be quite honest. Would you ladies look what I did? Look at what I did. Okay. I got my take your pick tool and I was going to pick up my bird. And then look what I picked it up with. My glue. Okay. Maybe it's just, all right, let's try this. Turn to the left side. I need to hold it with that so I can put this glue on it. It was too funny. I can't believe it. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna put this little guy here. Got this one. That was funny. Hopefully you guys are laughing. Maybe you were actually saying, Christina, you're holding it with your glue. And you'd be right. Oh, goodness. Okay. Put that away before I try to stick something with my take your pick tool instead of the glue. Okay. So here we go. This is our second card. We're all set with that one. And then I will clean up these supplies and be back with another project here. Okay, all right, this is our third project. So we are rolling along. So this next one we are going to create is this beautiful one. And on this example, I did a hello friend. I've grabbed a sympathy since the class was with sympathy greetings and stuff. So we're going to make this a sympathy card. So on this project here, we are using the painted texture folder, which is what I shared with you earlier, how we did the clouds. So we're using that, the 3D folder. So you would need the gray 3D plate for embossing on that. We're using the inked and tiled stamp set, which is new in this catalog. It is bundled together with the two inked and tiled coordinating punches. And there's some really fun things I've seen done with these punches. So you can definitely look forward to seeing these used in a class in the future. It also comes with a pack of paper. Now we're not using the paper on today's project, but let me kind of fan this out so you can see. These are front and back of each paper. So I'm just gonna fan them out so you can get an idea of this. This paper is beautiful. There we go. There's some more. These pieces. Just, it's already got that one there. Those. There we go. Just all kinds of designs here. I'm trying to get them out so you can see them all. So just some beautiful, beautiful designs. And again, it's 15% off, so you can get this packet of paper for 10.62. It's 48 sheets, 6 by 6. So that's part of the suite of these products. We're not going to use the punches today, but I wanted to show them to you. We're going to use Moody Mauve and Soft Succulent. Now I realize Soft Succulent is retired, but I know we have tons of other substitutions, and we can find a happy substitution for you. Like mint macaron would be great with this, although that one's retired too. Any of the soft greens, and I think I was using them on the other projects. If you notice my projects, they have very green and blue tones today. I think that's what I was just thinking of, comforting colors. And then the Seaside Bay stamp set, I'm going to take out this Heartfelt Sympathy greeting in here. This is a beautiful stamp set, and it also has dies to go along with that. Grab that, put it on a block so we've got it. Okay, so we are ready to get started. Our paper supplies, of course, we've got our envelope. We've got a piece of soft succulent that's 5.5 by 8.5. A piece of basic white that is 4 by 5.25. Another piece of soft succulent that is 2 by 5.5. Another piece of soft succulent that is 3 by 4.25. And then a piece of white that is 2 3/4 by 4. So we're going to stamp on these two. Set aside for now. This one I ran through the embossing folder. So I used the painted texture embossing folder, ran that through the cotton emboss machine, and got this beautiful piece of texture paper. All right. So to get the enhanced, we want to enhance this, the texture on this folder. We're going to do a stamping technique with direct to paper. So I'm going to go ahead and do that first. Now I will say, when you're doing this technique at the class, some of the ladies were very heavy handed, and it tore the ink pad. So you can see that it's ripped there. You do not need to apply that much pressure when you're doing this technique, just a light touch. So you're going to take your ink pad and just lightly go across the top of the embossed paper. Do you see how that texture is popping out? You're like, oh, it just is, it's making it more prominent. I am just gently pulling that ink pad across. And the key is that you can always apply more ink. You can't take the ink off once you've applied it. So if you're really heavy-handed and you gush it on there, it's going to be bolder in color, which still would work with your project. It's just you can't remove that once you put it on. But this is a great technique to use on any embossing folder, just to enhance the texture that it gives the cardstock. So we're going to set that piece aside and do a little stamping on our other pieces. Oh, I need to fold my card base in half because we're going to do a little stamping on that too. Flatten that with my bone folder. And I've got to get one more stamp on a block here. I need this leaf stamp. What's the paper? It's a scrap paper to stamp on here. Right, so I'm going to take and create some leaves on the one side. Now, I don't want it to be too bold, so I'm going to stamp off a little bit and then stamp that on my card. And I'm just going to do it going down the one side. And that'll be good. Just want a couple there. Okay, so it's just created a very faint background to create a little extra interest there. And I will stamp it boldly on my envelope just in the corner. Set that aside. I've got my stamped piece there. So now we're going to do the front of our card. I'm done with this. So I'm going to start first by stamping my greeting. So I'm going to use the heartfelt sympathy. Stamp that down. Okay. And I'm gonna shut that ink up and use my Moody Mauve. So I've taken this large stem with the blossom on it, and I'm going to ink that up with the Moody Mauve. And what I'm going to do is stamp it once in full strength, and then I'm going to drop it down and stamp it again. So what that allows, let's look a little closer here, is it's given me some depth and definition to the images. You've got one that's kind of looks like it's a little further in the background and lighter, and then the bolder one up front. What it also does is when I drop it down and I'm stamping over my greeting, it doesn't, it's not as bold as the first stamp, so it doesn't distract from the lettering of my greeting, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. In other words, it doesn't cause an obstruction. So I'm going to do that same thing on the inside of my card to get those two-tone flowers. And the Moody Mauve, as it dries, it does tone down. It's really bold when you first stamp it, but I have noticed with my use with the color that it tones down and softens more. All right, we're ready to put this card together. Okay. Got a lot of adhesive on that because it was coming out pretty thin, and I've got all that texture, so I want to make sure to get a good adhesion there. Then we're going to stamp that greeting piece, or not stamp it, put the adhesive on it. Okay. And our inside layer. Okay. And I'm going to pop this up with some dimensionals too. Just put one in all the four corners. Well, got there, doubled that little guy up there. Okay. All right. And then go ahead and put that on our card. Just a really simple card with clean images and gives you that texture, but it's not overstated. It's a sympathy card, so you don't want to necessarily have bling on it and things like that. Okay, so I have got one more project to share with you. So let me clean these supplies up and I will be right back. Okay, here we go. We've had a little bit of a stamping frenzy, but it has been good. All right, so this next project, I'll give you a peek here of the one we're doing here, is this card here. this beautiful designer series paper that many of you have. I know many of you have this paper because it was a celebration paper. Again, we have tons of options that you can duplicate this card with different color combinations or combinations that are very close to what I'm using. Just take the card layout, substitute the designer series paper you want, put a greeting on it, and you are good to go. So please know that there are all kinds of options for creativity with this project. So we are using Misty Moonlight, which is a returning in color, Mint Macaron, which has retired. But again, we have substitutions. I was just using them on other projects here. So know that you just take whatever colors are in your designer series paper, pick a couple of those, use it on your card. You're good to go. Then I've pulled out the Hope You Know stamp set. This is a new stamp set that is in the new catalog, and I love it. We're going to use the Thinking of You today, and the day after that, and the day after that, and the day after that, and so on. I love that. That's cute. So it's got a miss you, hello friend, wishing you comfort. There's also a gratitude, thank you sentiment in here. More of a sympathy verse that would go along with a wishing you comfort. May you find peace in the days to come and the loving thoughts that surround you now. So that's a very beautiful verse too. And then you are the sunshine that brightens so many of my days. Oh, I could send that to all kinds of people because I have so many wonderful friends that just brighten my day. I'm so grateful, so grateful. And then I'm using the All That dies. And these are the dies that are in this stamp set. So you've got several different label pieces, some decorative pieces there, and then some little banners too. So I'm using this die out of that set. And then as far as, the ribbon is the frayed ribbon, which is here, and that just retired, but watch for that on the clearance rack because this ribbon is phenomenal. I've used it in a variety of different ways. It is a great ribbon for your project. So it is called the frayed ribbon. It's a 3/4 of an inch, but watch for this to come on the clearance rack because I would almost guarantee you it's going to be there. So we're using this, but we're using it. We're going to cut it in half. I'm going to show you how you can do that with this ribbon because I felt like it was too bold of a band to put on this card. We've got our envelope. Then we've got a piece of mint macaron, which is 5.5 by 8.5. 2 pieces of basic white that are 4 by 5.25. We've got a piece of designer series paper that is 3 by 5.25, and a piece that is 1 inch by 5.25. And then I've got a piece of ribbon that is 6.5 inches. And then a scrap piece of white that I've cut my label out of. So you just need an extra piece. And again, that label's already been cut for us. Some of the ladies at class were using the flip side of these papers for their project, and that was just completely fine to do. Now, you'll notice so my example, let's look at that. My example is this way, this medallion piece, and then this beautiful watercolor imagery. I have flipped them to do it the opposite, just to show you that whatever paper you have, this is the same complementary card colors, but I'm flipping the designs here. So, and you could have that in your packet. If you did a kit to go, you might have this combination instead of that one. So we're going to start by folding our card base in half. And then we're going to layer our designer series paper. So I don't know if I told you ladies, but so my daughter, Cecily, is helping with the Hall of Fame fashion show. Some of you might know, remember years ago, she competed in the Hall of Fame pageant. So that was an experience. She realized she's not a pageant girl, and we'll kind of leave it at that. But she's the winner in our minds. We just love that girl. So at any rate, she was at a business event and ran into a lady that did that event and was so taken with Cecily and she's just she's just a lovely young lady. I'm probably, just saying that maybe because she's my daughter. I don't know. I think she's pretty fantastic. So, long story short, they asked her to be involved with the fashion show for the Hall of Fame because they do not the year that Cecily competed in the pageant, it was the last year that they held it. So, it hasn't been, and that was her senior year in high school, and she's now graduated college. So it's been a long time. So I'll tell you what I'm doing here, and then I'll keep talking here. I'm going to cut this ribbon in half with my um, scissors. So I'm just cutting it right down the middle. So anyway, she met with them and just is, so she is like the models liaison. So she has to make sure that the models are all dressed with all the different things, accessories, whatnot, that the different designers sent for models to wear. So that is her job. She's doing like those behind the scenes, but she's been working on that. They have like everyone that attends the luncheon, they have goodie bags for them. So they've been packing those up and all the fun things. And it's just been a wonderful experience. She's met some really, really fantastic people with them. So I cut this in half and, of course it's slimmer. I just felt like, so if we put it back here, I just felt like that was too bold. It was too much. I wanted something a little softer, a little more, delicate. So, okay. So flip this over and fasten my ribbon in place. So yeah, she was busy with that yesterday. And that I think is like the end of July when the Hall of Fame Festival is going on and all the things that are happening in Canton around that time. It's a busy time of year. All right, we're gonna get our stamp and seal since we've got a ribbon on there. And then that in place. So yeah. And then Ethan has, for many of you know about his building that it had burned. And I'm trying to just think if I stamped the greeting in there. I did them both in the, it's okay. So I didn't even use, I just put the mint macaron ink there, but I never used it on this card. So yeah, so Ethan, he had a fire in his building and yesterday they were there putting the electric in. He's getting closer. That happened 6 months ago. It's been a journey. Poor kid at his age shouldn't have to go through that, but he just felt so much love and support from so many people, several of you, and I'm just, you don't know how much that touched his heart and ours too, just by your outreach and generosity. But he's so excited to just finally get his shop back and to be able to work on things. That's his happy space. He is an outside kid and young man, I should say. And he loves working on things. He's a welder by profession. So he's always out there working on an engine or building something, and a lot like my brother in that aspect. So he reminds me of my brother a lot. So, okay. See, so we've got the inside layer in there. I'm going to put my greeting on with a couple dimensionals. And right there. And there we go. Simple card. I didn't put anything on the envelope for that one. I think if I have something that I could put on there, I don't, you know what? I've got an idea. I'm going to do this on, we will do this. We're going to bring this stamp in and make a watercolor flat. Oh my gosh, I wish I would have thought of that at class. I wish I would have had that for the in-person class because it just dawned on me. So I love this stamp set. It's artistically inked. You can just do such beautiful things. So we're going to create a We'll do it in the mint macaron since the card base is that. Try that. I'm gonna come up here. Okay, look at that. Oh yeah, I like it. Okay, that's good. That'll be something fun. It kind of complements the card with the DSP that we've got on there. I love that. Okay, so there we go. Our fourth card. Oh, I've got everything all kind of crooked here. All right, let me put this stuff out of the way and bring back in the cards that we made today. That one, this one, and our little seaside one, and then the heartfelt sympathy one. Okay, there we go. All right. Well, we are done today with our stamping class. I am so grateful that you joined me. I hope you got some creative inspiration to make some quick and easy cards. Especially, it's good to have these on hand because usually when we need them, it's we may not have time to make a card. So if you saw anything today that you like, that you would love to have in your crafting items, again, my online store is stampingyoucrazy.stampinup.net. And my current hostess code is listed right here to use that to be able to get the card kits. So thank you so much for joining me today for this class. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you. And as always, I appreciate your business. So take a little time to create something beautiful and put that paper sunshine out into the world and brighten somebody's day. All right, until next time, happy stamping.